Hi everybody, this is Annette Dion with the Psychic News Network. It's the day before Juneteenth, the first year that it's ever a federal holiday. We've come a long way since Black Lives Matter last year at this time. I'm here to give you a reading about the current news, and I'm fairly new to YouTube, been on again, off again. I also post this video on Facebook when I'm finished. So it's June 18th, and we're going to check on a few things that are in the news. Today I'm going to use the other day I used the Hanson Roberts deck. This is a great deck. And these are the decks that I used when I first started doing readings many years ago. The Cosmic Tarot today. So let's see, where do we have the moon today? Is in, I didn't even check. It is in Virgo. Heading into Leo. So this weekend will be very fiery, and we have the summer solstice. Oh my gosh, it's already the summer solstice. That's like one of my favorite days because it's a long day and it's warm and I love summer. I live in New England where it's not horribly hot most of the time, like in some other places. I know that in the West and the Southwest, they're having, we'll look at this too in the cards, they're having just record-breaking heat. I just read that they were getting up in the morning. Can you imagine getting up in the morning? And in the morning, it's 100 degrees. All this was forecast not by the psychics per se, but by the scientists. This is global climate change happening. It is now happening. There is no denying it. And the guides are telling me that they're saying, Annette, that's the theme. Now the theme is these things are not conjecture. These things are now happening. That which has been forecast by science, not just on the climate front, just what science has said is going to happen is happening. So I actually see a water crisis. We know they're in a horrible drought right now. I see an out-and-out water crisis. I see that this is going to be a problem. The guides are telling me New York City will be next in terms of a water shortage. I don't even know. I have to look up where they get their water. It might be the Quabbin Reservoir, but I have to really look. In Massachusetts. I really don't know that. I'm just guessing. But the guides are telling me the drought is coming to the Northeast. That's not good news. So let's take a look at that first, since I just jumped on that topic. I never know what I'm going to talk about. I just go with what the guides say. If you'd like to book a reading, the readings are right like this, in this atmosphere, in this environment, remotely obviously. Yeah, Annette Dion 7@gmail.com. Would love to have you. I've been doing readings for, I don't want to tell you because then you'll know how old I am. Over 20 years. So let's ask about the summer and the droughts and what to expect and what we need to know in terms of how to cope. I see severe water restrictions, obviously. It doesn't take a psychic to tell you that that's what's going to have to happen. And actually what's not pleasant, and I'll tell you the good news, I'll tell you the bad news first and the good news after. I see the very wealthy trying to buy the water. Yikes, I don't like the feel of that. Wow. Okay, well, let's just ask the guides. I mean, we pay for water anyway. We pay for the transport of the water. We pay for the cleaning of the water. Purification of the water. We pay for all that. Water is life, and it's been treated like, really carelessly. Really, like, I heard recently, this is about ocean water, but I heard recently that the manatees in Florida that have had problems for a very long time. I used to be in environmental science, and I was in the Gulf, Sarasota, many years ago, and that was a problem then. The pollution that was coming into the ocean, the Gulf, and the manatees were really suffering from the pollution, And now the manatees are suffering from the loss of the seagrass that they feed on, that they need to survive, and that's all development. So these droughts and these environmental crises were created by humankind, mostly men. Nothing against the men, but come on, we have to start thinking about the repercussions of what we're doing on the planet. So the Ten of Wands indicates, you can tell just by looking at that card, look, it looks like scorching heat. That really stands out for me in this card. It looks like a scorching heat. And the person is kind of in a state of despair. So this indicates a really humongous problem. And when something's really, really a big problem, when it brings you to your knees, this person has had to just go through the hardship that's going to lead to, okay, we surrender to the science. This drought is really happening. This public health crisis in massive numbers, this giant public health crisis of not having water is going to cause people to just, okay, we give up fighting the facts. We're not going to fight the facts anymore. You're going to see this happening July, August, where people are going to start, people in leadership positions are going to start meeting with the scientists, the politicians, and the scientists are going to come together, and tech industries are going to come together to find solutions to the fact that there won't be enough water to drink. That happened in Texas, and obviously not heat, but when they had the freezing cold temperatures, which is the instability in the weather, unpredictable weather is a sign of the global climate crises, and they didn't have drinking water. Got to think about these things. Now the Eight of Pentacles, that's the Eight of Pentacles, indicates, as you can see, she's looking at the pentacles like in a kind of when everything's laid out on the table and you're like just looking at it. I'm going to pick one more card to see if there's more information about what will actually be done about the water crises starting in the west, but they're heading east. The Ace of Wands, yeah, we're going to have to come up with brand new ways. And actually, I feel like this is going to bring a lot of people together because we all need water. It's the crises that everybody is affected by that are going to, this is like the Ace of Wands. It's like one mind. We're all going to be of the same mind because we'll all be going through the same crises. It's really funny. The guides are telling me this, like, not that this is a prediction, but if aliens landed, like in the, I don't know, War of the Worlds or Independence Day, that movie, we'd all have to come together and face the aliens, And I'm not talking about aliens, even though I did predict in my 2021 predictions that this is the year that we will find out that aliens are real. I've always known they are, but where it will be indisputable. So this is going to be like one mind all together. We have to all face this problem that is affecting the whole planet, really, but I'm just talking about the United States. So the Ace of Wands is we're going to, at least, the guides are telling me too, like in the very beginning of this, when we're speaking from a worldview, was Biden this past week being in Europe. And, that energy of the synergy and the energy of the different European leaders coming together. They were so grateful because that's the only hope that we have. They were so grateful that Joe Biden was, was just Joe Biden. They know him. Somebody who was sensible, who put, full sentences together, who was very thoughtful, who was very experienced. Because prior to that, with the former guy, there was zero hope. There was zero hope of solving the world's problems. So that was more huge than people are really acknowledging. I know it seems like I went from the climate and water crisis to politics, but they're all linked. They're definitely all linked. The guides are saying, unless we come together as one mind and one world, we're not going to make it. I'm trying to be chipper. doing my best. Okay, let's go to the next world topic. Do I want to go to COVID next? I'll go to COVID next. Before I go to that, I just want to say, I've always had the ability to pick up on the collective energy, and sometimes it's a horrible thing to be able to do, and sometimes it's a good thing to be able to do, because you get to, when people are happy, you feel it. I won't do it now because this is a short video, but I can recount lots of experiences where I picked up on the collective and what that felt like when everybody was kind of feeling the same way. This Juneteenth is a big freaking deal. The guides told me last year, while the Black Lives Matter movement was just peaking and full on peaking out, like people all over the world, the guides were telling me that I was witnessing the end of white supremacy. And when I would mention that to people, they would be like, what are you talking about? It's terrible. These things, healing takes a long time, but one of the stages of healing is absolutely that things peak out. They get very, very, very bad just before they turn. And it takes time to turn. It's like turning a big giant cruise ship. It takes time for the turn to happen. But we are seeing the beginning of the end. And I'm a little bit amazed by how big the energy is around the Juneteenth thing. It's like, for more than 400 years, Black America has not had the respect, has not had reparations for slavery. Police brutality has been just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. What happened in Tulsa that was never taught in the schools, 100 years ago, mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. What the African American community has been through. And this is the first time ever. We live in really interesting times. This is the first time ever. They had Martin Luther King Day, but this is like about all Black Americans acknowledging slavery. We can't move on from our past until we face our past. That's just the way it is. So I feel such positive energy around that. So before I get to COVID, I'm going to just pick a few cards about where this, Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday. It's been 40 years since we had a federal holiday created. The last one, I believe, was Martin Luther King Day. So it's interesting that this is the next one. Okay, so what's going to happen to this country as a result of this finally having acknowledgement and recognition of the Black community? We're all one, it's just skin color. Some people aren't going to like it. But the Tower card indicates change. There are a lot of white supremacists, unfortunately, that are not going to like it. All right. I want to stay positive. I see some violence breaking out, but that's not news to us because there always is violence in our country, unfortunately. I see some violence. I see it coming to a quick end in terms of being stopped. I hope this isn't right. I see white supremacist groups in little pockets of the country trying to cause a ruckus about this. And let's take all the negative energy out of that card and let's just make the Tower card a positive outcome. But there are groups, evil is alive and well. There are groups that have a very, very enraged feeling around this, so this is interesting. I feel like Kamala Harris is gonna talk about what's going on. I don't know if she has a speech planned. That woman looks like she doesn't have a nose. She does have a nose, see? I feel Kamala Harris is gonna play a big role in this Juneteenth. I don't know what they decided to call it. I think they've been calling it informally, unofficially, like Jubilee Day or Freedom Day or, you know, like that. I know she did say something about it already when it was signed into law. It's going to be okay, but it's going to, you know, like I said, things get really shaken up when healing's on the way. It's called a healing crisis. We will see crisis. It's called a healing crisis when things get very bad before they get better. But the guides are telling me we've seen the worst in terms of, like, it's been horrible for the Black community. It's not going to ever be as bad as it was. And I mean, of course, it was just, I mean, slavery. You can't, I don't mean like, I'm not going way back. I'm just saying it's not going to ever be as bad as it was even recently with police brutality. It's going to shift. The Tower card indicates shift and change. And I see this being the sort of the harbinger of what's coming next, being there will, from, it's almost like dominoes. There's like Juneteenth, and then the laws against police brutality and, you know, protecting the African American community, giving, I even see, oh, this is a good news thing. I see reparations being paid, like Germany paid, you know, the Jewish community as reparations for the Holocaust. And the Japanese Americans were paid, you know, reparations. I think it was Ronald Reagan that might have done that. I actually see that happening with the African American community. So that's good. It's going to take a little while, but I see laws being passed to protect, you know, if you get stopped for running a traffic light, a red light, I mean, you shouldn't have to worry that you're going to be thrown in jail for the rest of your life and, you know, accused of murder. Humans, I'm telling you. I dropped a card. Hang on. The next question that I have that I want to ask is about what's happening with COVID, if the new variant is going to get under control. The guides are telling me it will be a balancing act, but we're moving in the direction of what do they call it? Herd mentality. That's Trump said that. Herd immunity. We're moving in the direction of herd immunity. It's going to be, I'm picking up the year 2023. I've said before, this isn't going to be completely gone until 2024. We're going to see variants. We're going to be fighting with different variants, and, you know, well into 2023. That's a couple years. These readings usually, you know, are most accurate for, you know, now till 6 months out. So we'll see. There's a lot of variables to the variants. So I'm just looking at what's going to happen in the next few weeks with the COVID situation. We're going to have more outbreaks. I said that the other day too. The Delta variant is going to get in to our communities. I don't feel like it's because of people not being vaccinated, whatever. I mean, I don't feel like it's because the rural communities haven't been vaccinated. I'm not seeing that as the reason. So, the magician is, we'll quickly figure it out and turn it around so that things go, so that the COVID numbers drop. We will figure it out and turn it around. The Emperor Joe Biden's going to take control. I see this as Dr. Fauci too. And what I see is, what's being shown to me is we're going to have to go to a combination of masking and physical distancing, a combination of that and vaccines. That's what I'm seeing, a combination of that being recommended by the CDC. And it won't be as stringent because a lot of people are vaccinated. But I'm just seeing that they decide, like the government decides to issue guidelines that are like, even if you've been vaccinated, wear a mask. So I'm not really sure why that would be, right? I have to kind of let that cogitate a little bit. So yeah, I see breakthrough, the breakthrough COVID. I see COVID breaking through, you know, crashing down the walls in terms of just getting through. Even some people that have been vaccinated, I see breakthrough cases. And that's because of the variants. But don't worry, because I don't feel like, it's never going to be like when we didn't have a vaccine at all. It's never going to be like that. So, you know, a couple good things, you know, like white supremacy is never going to be like what it used to be. And, you know, the COVID will never be what it was. It's not going to be as intense. But I do see breakthrough cases. All right. Let's see. We have time for one or two more. Let's ask about he who shall not be named, the former guy that occupied the White House. If you're a fan of his, you hate this video. I just want you to know. He's a terrible person. He's a criminal. He's a traitor. He's an insurrectionist. He's a thief. He's a con. We're just asking what's going to happen. God bless his soul. God bless his heart, as they say in the South. Of course I got the devil. He's still trying to turn his tricks, in the sense, yeah, he's still on. I get these images, sometimes the guides show me images. He's on the phone, he's on the phone, he's on the phone. This time I get the image, I forget what that was about before. I think it was when he lost the election. On the phone, on the phone, on the phone. He can't hire anybody to defend him. Nobody wants to defend him. Because they won't get paid. You can't blame him, right? He's trying to get out of it. He's trying to figure out how to stick it to Weisselberg, his financial guy, his finance guy. The chariot means things are going to come to a head very quickly. I see the wagon circling around him, and I feel like he knows it. And I know he's thinking about doing rallies, and I mean, I think starting next week. They're gonna come and swoop in. Letitia James. That's the energy of Letitia James. I know she's a white woman, but it's the energy of her. The swords. This also is indicative of the woman who, I think her name was EJ, who was raped by him. Her case is coming back. I don't feel like that's over. Oh, it's just slimy. It's just slimy to even tune into it. Anybody who's wondering, the guy behind me, that's Sadhguru. I met him in Nashville, Tennessee in 1998, and that's it says Isha Foundation. That's the foundation. Highly recommend that you go and you listen to Sadhguru on YouTube. SADH Guru. You won't be sorry. You won't be sorry. Okay. I gotta run, so, and I can't make this too long. So one more question. Voter suppression. Is the voter suppression going to succeed or fall apart? So the question we'll ask is it going to lose its hold? All the GOP that are, they have no interest whatsoever in being public servants. They only have interest in being like authoritarian. So let's see what's going to happen with, you know, like with what's the situation is now. Stacey Abrams is on it. There's a lot of people that are starting to pop up that are running against GOP senators and congresspeople. So let's see where that's at. Oh, 2 cards fell. I gotta grab them because they tend to mean something. It's going to be a balancing act. Some of it is going to look like it's going to pass, the voter suppression bills. And this has to do with, okay, so a lot of them have been passed already. That's us. And it's the despair that's going to bring people, it's, you know, then it's going to be a balancing act. And the 8 of Wands, we shall overcome. We shall overcome. I hear that song being sung a lot for Juneteenth. The guys are telling me we shall overcome, we shall overcome. And the Princess of Pentacles, I see the women taking over, and that indicates Stacey Abrams will prevail and she will succeed, and also Val Demings will succeed in defeating Rubio. There you have it. That's it for today. Annette Dion 7@gmail.com. If you'd like to book a reading, we do FaceTime or Facebook Messenger video is the easiest thing for me. If you want to set up Zoom, we can do it that way. Please do call for a reading. You won't regret it. Namaste. Happy Juneteenth.